right. Hold on. I'm coming. Oh, yes. Everybody. Gonna get it together. Yes. Let's see. Here we go.
Who wants people coming in from foreign countries?
No, not me. I just want our crowd in here hitting the like right away.
Even outside, it's packed.
I know. I wish they would get in here. What are you, raised in a barn? You probably were born in a barn with all the other primitives. Your primitive intellect wouldn't understand alloys and things with metallic compositions. All right. 3, 2, 1. Let's just hit it. There we go. Ooh, I'm very fly away today. I don't know what it is. I don't know. It's the humidity that we don't normally have. It's hard to say. And my new camera really, it breaks me out of the green screen a lot better. So all my little flyaways matter. It's a lot. But I'll be fine. I'll manage. I feel like one of those people who's been on like a real network news show during COVID lockdown, and they didn't have their own home makeup person. So you're like, sorry, folks, this is what I really look like without the professional makeup people and the gauze on the lens. Don't we all wish wish everyone was, I guess, struck in the occipital portion of their skull where they, I think that's the proper term, and where they, everybody gets blurry vision. It's God's Vaseline on the lens, as it were. Hi, welcome. And by the way, hi, chat room, welcome. Don't forget to hit the like right away. Let people know we're in here. And there you go. Hit the like it. Just like it. That's right. The motto of our show is you take it and you like it. What? That's not okay. Couple of things. Can we just go right off the fucking bat? Right off the bat shit. Can we just, all right. Here, let's see if I can bring this up. One more link before this. So a couple of things happened in the last 24 hours in terms of, Trump in New Hampshire and all that kind of stuff. And we all know that Vivek Ramaswamy dropped out and is now endorsing Trump. No surprise there. Maybe that was the game all along, very possibly. Never mind the fact that, we'll just get there in a second. I'll show you. Hold on one second. Let's see. All right. So there's a bunch of reasons, and I'm sure chat room, you can come up with a couple because you're smart people. Why Ramaswamy will not be VP. That is the conversation that is happening in the background. I gotta say, that one of the entire kind of, that's being floated all over social media. And let me tell you, right out of the gate, that's not going to happen. The very thing, which is an East Indian background, which is keeping Nikki Haley, a couple of points away, I guess, from unseating DeSantis in Iowa, is not going to be a benefit to a guy named Vivek Ramaswamy. And let me tell you something. Before I run you by the details of why this won't happen, understand that Trump views himself as like a branding genius, right? And what's happening? Doc in Paradise, good to see you. Alyosha, good to see you. Hi, Hoot Johnson. And that's someone's name. They didn't. There was not a picture shown on the screen. I'm just saying. Before I get into the absolute why not, besides the possible racial reasons, right? Why not? Trump views himself as a Madison Avenue genius, a stable genius of creating. I mean, he's shit the bed on his nicknames lately. He's had to reuse crooked and all that kind of stuff. But in his mind, he thinks he's a marketing genius, and he likes some people. He hired Ty Cobb because that guy had the same fucking name as a Major League Baseball player that he remembered from his youth. He hires people based on what they look like and what their name sounds like. If it sounds familiar, he is such a like a slave to branding. And that's why he says his own name and stuff. So if he knows somebody's name, they must be a master of branding like he is. It's sort of the idea. It's horseshit, but you get my his idea of himself this way is yeah. So just settle your brain around the idea of bumper stickers that say Trump Ramaswamy. Just after, and by the way, after all of his recent like regurgitating of Barack Hussein Obama, you remember Rush Limbaugh, Hussein, they put the accent of everything. Anyways, that like just reviving that shit to a big portion of his supporters. eh, Ramaswamy is as bad as Hussein. They don't. It fucking sounds foreign to them. There's no fucking way there's bumper stickers printed up. Trump would ever let them, George H.W. Bush attached to Reagan, Vivek Ramaswamy onto Donald Trump so that the fucking bumper stickers. I doubt one of the reasons why I think Trump picked Pence is because he had the same number of letters in his name. Well, no, he had less, right? He had less. He had 5. Pence has 5 letters. Trump has 6. Yeah, no, 5 for 5. I'm drunk. What am I talking about? So, yeah, 5 to 5. That was what it was. It was even. So Trump, because I'm thinking Drumpf and with the extra ph. I've got old German Trump story brain fever because I've been watching all this background information stuff for another thing I'm working on. Anyways, sexy liberal this weekend, by the way. Joke writing makes your brain a little squirrely. Anyways, so I think he picked Pence because Trump Pence. It's like if Pence's name was like Penceville or Penciller or whatever, Trump wouldn't have it. Can't be Trump Penciller. Penciller sounds like the boss because he's got more letters. Like that's not gonna fucking happen, right? Do you understand what I'm saying? And so there's no fucking way that he allows a bumper sticker just on that reason, just on that like low res horse shit idea that I'm not going to be on a bumper sticker with a guy that has more last name, more letters in his name than I do. Period. Happy birthday, Sa. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you, and say hello to Dr. Hafar. Now, yeah, Trump Gabbard. Yeah, no, wouldn't happen. For the same reason too. Like they perceive her as brown. Now, let me tell you the biggest reason why there's no Vivek Ramaswamy Trump ticket or even conversation of a cabinet position getting into any serious territory. And that's because of these young fellows. Remember these guys? Remember these guys that were showing up now? They haven't been seen as much in some areas, and it might just be snow and travel, and who knows, their Winnebago might have broken down someplace on their way to Iowa. But yeah, Trump Lake is much closer. Trump Lake sounds like a resort he's trying to buy. But anyways, the Blacks for Trump guys, right? These guys, we've seen them. It's ridiculous. There's been much comedic fodder made of the idea that these guys are doing okay. And then never mind the fact that if you go to their website, it goes in. This goes to this honest fact thing, whatever, and it goes into, oh God, I don't want the N word on my channel. Blech. So, what you need to know is that at the root of this guy's belief system, this guy, the guy who's in charge, and he's one of these followers of Yahweh ben Yahweh, which is, I'm pretty sure, is like one of the offshoots of like the kind of thing Nick Cannon follows, why he wears a turban. And anyways, they believe that not only are blacks the real Jews, that's it, right? Then also Jews are fake, and they're a tribe of I don't know, European Arabish people who got their claws in black Israel. I'm not kidding. And I would make more sense of it and kind of lay it out in reality, but there it's silly. It's fucking ridiculous. So at a certain point, it doesn't matter. Also, can I just say something about Yahweh ben Yahweh? Look at this motherfucker's nails. Does that does that I haven't seen fingers like that since the movie It's Alive. That, like, yikes. Okay. Anyways, that's neither here nor there. This guy believes that black people are the real Jews, and then American blacks, like Oprah and Denzel Washington and Hussein Obama and all that crap. They're actually, wait for it, they're actually the descendants of Cherokee people in the United States and East Indian people who had babies and drove the real black people who were the real Jews out of America where they were originally from. Now, where did the Cherokees and the East Indians come from in this process? I don't fucking know. You kind of, I gotta say, you hit a bit of an opaque wall when you get into they kind of, when they would get to that point in the sermon or the conversation where they would take a big like they go, okay, now let me explain to you how the East Indians and the Cherokees started fucking and why they hate us so much. Like, they don't, at that point in the conversation where you're like, that's what I really came for. I'm really curious as to how you came up with this kind of horseshit. Um, I, I, that's why I would buy popcorn and show up to one of these events. Right about that time, they just yank the wheel into Jew hate. Like, it doesn't even bother. Like, it's really weird. Like, they're setting up that it's like a really bad murder mystery where right, where in the middle of it you're like, you've got two possible killers that got together, and and the whole plot is making you, as the viewer of the murder mystery, think, the East Indian got together with the Cherokee and hit him with the lead pipe in the kitchen, right? And that they're the guilty ones. They coordinated this together, and then they introduce a new character, like, at the end of the movie. You're like, where the fuck did that guy come from? Right? That's I'm dead serious. That's the sort of equivalent in those conversations. I've watched a bunch of these fucking videos, and they're horrifying, and they're equally horrifying and silly. And I wish I could go through some of the videos that are on this dude's channel on mine, but he has this penchant for finding videos from all over the world of brown people beating up on brown people, and saying, picking one side and going, these people are East Indians and that is a genuine black person and whatever, and then just create using this with no evidence, no, there's no interview with the people involved, there's no, here's the arrest warrant for these people, here's what happened, there's none of that. It's just kind of like a blah 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 fight scene, and then you're like, that's what happens when black people trust East Indian people. It's fucking, at a certain point you're just like, all right, I kind of got to tap out on this nonsense. It's just it's past the point of like trying to figure it out. You know what I mean? Anyways, this is this is the Blacks for Trump channel. Now they have a bunch of these things, like, that like, there's the documents for the court case where Michael wants a meeting with President Trump representing over 1 million black Yahweh followers, asking him to heroically pardon Yahweh ben Yahweh. Okay, that's what this is all about. And then there's the list of these folks over here, and pardon all these politically and falsely charged people, and black, Latin, and white must unite. Second Thessalonians 2:1-11. Now I gotta look that shit up. Okay, so let me real quick. Okay, that's a new one to me. Okay, Second Thessalonians, 2:1-11. It seems like a lot, but okay. Second to lowest in 11. The man of lawlessness. Oh, real shit. It's almost like it's like somebody's writing. Um, so there's there. So Trump does appear in the Bible. Just kidding. It's comedy. Um, Concerning the coming of our Lord Jesus Christ and our being gathered to him, we ask you, brothers and sisters, not to become easily unsettled or alarmed by the teaching allegedly from us, whether by a prophecy or by word of mouth or by letter, asserting that the day of the Lord has already come. Don't let anyone deceive you in any way, for that day will not come until the rebellion occurs and the man of lawlessness is revealed. Okay, so that would be Trump, I guess. The man doomed to destruction. That sounds like Trump. I got to say, this is the best case for Trump triggering revelations that I've ever seen. Okay. He will oppose and will exalt himself over everything that is called God or is worship. So he sets himself up in God's temple, proclaiming himself to be God. I mean, we're very close. We're this close. Trump is just like, at some point, like I feel like after he gets convicted of something, he's going to try and seek sanctuary in a church, and while he's in the church, declare himself God. Like it'd be hilarious. I'm God because I have more letters in my name than God does in his. Sorry, and I can use vowels. So, all right, don't you remember that when I was with you, I used to tell you these things, and now you know what is holding him back, so that he may be revealed at the proper time. For the secret power of lawlessness is already at work, but the one who now holds it back will continue to do so until he is taken out of the way. And then the lawlessness one will be revealed, whom the Lord Jesus will overthrow with the breath of his mouth and destroy by the splendor of his coming. Well, hello. The coming of the lawless one will be in accordance with a lot of. I'm just saying I could make a case to get this book banned in a school. This is a lot. All right. Where is it? The coming of the lawless one will be in accordance with how Satan works. Well, of course, obviously. He will use all sorts of displays of power through signs and wonders that serve the lie, and all the ways that wickedness deceives those who are perishing. They perish because they refuse to love the truth and so be saved. For this reason, God sends them a powerful delusion so they will believe the lie. Yeah, I got to tell you, this sounds like God's warning about MAGA. It does a little bit. It does not sound like what this asshole is saying, which is black, Latin, and white must unite. I mean, I guess with everybody else, sure. But who doggy? So it's, anyways, this guy's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Anyways, the important thing though, but it's a sanctuary. You're right. I beg your pardon. Sanctuary cities. And the important part though, and I think you guys will recognize this, is that that guy, in believing that East Indian people are the devil and are pretending to be black or whatever the fuck. I mean, the details are very weird, but the idea that that guy is going to support an East Indian vice president. Kamala Harris is on the list of this guy's list of fake black people because she's not fully a woman of color and she's got East Asian ancestry. So he's proof positive that they're putting these Cherokee, East Indian fake black people in. It's lunacy. But the idea that, and maybe that's why this guy stopped showing up at these stump speeches when Ramaswamy started being there, because he'd have to call him out or something, so he just avoids the events. Yeah, who can say? Anyways, that's our what I would call our little helping of crazy pants this morning. It's a good way to start off our day. And by the way, Boston Brian, we got to get you on Twitch, man, so that I can raid you after the show and we can roll these things right into, I'm just saying, it'd be a good thing. He showed up on, he was on, okay, sorry. Okay, so, by the way, because I was going to be on Bob Seska's show this morning, and there was miscommunication, so he booked somebody else. So I'm going to be on his show on February 7th, I think. But because of that miscommunication, we don't have Phil today, so it's just me. So I think I'm going to do just an hour, if that's cool with everybody, and then I'll have a longer show later on this afternoon, because I still have some camera shit to work on in my own fucking setup here. Anyways, so let's jump into kind of what the primary news is today, and of course that's let's be abundantly clear. Trump does not have to be at the E. Jean Carroll case. Let's just settle that He was not at the first one at all. You know me, I may go long anyways. Who could say? Um, um, E. Jean Carroll up to 15 million now. Oh, that's great. So yeah, we'll get to that in a moment. But Trump himself, um, apparently he's just a, a mumbling fuck right now. Apparently he's just sitting in court being a douchebag and like whining about stuff because he thinks um the rules don't apply to him. And apparently this judge is um uh is not having it. Hold on one second. Let me see if I can bring up the um yeah. Um so let's see. I gotta bring this up. It's pretty hilarious. Um yeah. So, U.S. District Court Judge Lewis Kaplan warned former President Donald Trump after he spoke out in front of a jury. Why am I? I'm so high up. How did I? What did? In the world? Um, I'm growing. Either that or Enoch Chuck. All right, there we go. Uh, After he spoke out in front of a jury hearing a defamation case against him on Wednesday. On the second day of the trial, E. Jean Carroll testified about how she had been defamed after Trump denied raping her. During Carroll's testimony, Trump was heard uttering loud enough for the jury to hear. With the jury out of the room, Carroll's lawyer, Sean Crowley, is complaining that Trump is muttering loud enough that the plaintiff's table can hear him. Crowley says Trump is saying Carroll's testimony is false and suggesting she has suddenly gotten her memory back, which is, by the way, his just like he's just mad that she has a better recollection and details than he does. So the idea is like she doesn't even know the date. Like, motherfucker, you don't even know the date. But you gotta understand, this was a singular event in her life. This asshole bragged about grabbing women by the pussy all the time. So for him, it's like, I don't remember which time did I fucking, I don't know. I grab a lot of women and shove them around and stick my tongue in their mouth and try to fuck them randomly against their will. And, because I can, fortunately, that idea. Like, to him, I swear to God, he's like, I don't even recognize her. I mean, there was a bunch of women I did this to. Like, that's what it sounds like every time he opens his mouth, which is fucking stupid. Anyways, before taking a break from the trial, Kaplan suggested he would address Trump's remark. What about Mr. Trump being vocal in the presence of the jury? The judge asked. I'm just going to ask that Mr. Trump take special care to keep his voice down when he's conferring with counsel so that the jury does not overhear it. Derp. He's going to get a warning, but I mean, can we just enjoy the misery for a second? Because he thinks this is campaigning to him. He thinks this was a winning recipe for Iowa amongst getting the maggot base out. The problem is the maggot base, as far as caucuses, is very different than the secret ballot that they have in a regular primary election, a regular. Yeah, just hold on one second. I want to try to bring this. I don't know why this is off center. Oh, because it's too small. Anyways, he knows. Maybe he doesn't know it. Honestly, he was learning all about the caucus situation, and he thought the fucking election was over from his remarks yesterday. So, he got 51% of 14% of the Republicans in a state. It's not good. So, 5X birthday. Oh, 5X! Look at that. Happy birthday. Yeah. So, anyways, this is going to be a sort of bump along aspect of that bullshit over the last little bit. And I wanted to bring up something real quick that I, where are the yeah, we'll go to this guy right here. Yeah. This is probably one of the weirdest, a couple of weird stories. So, this is this was a story in Axios, and I was touching on it yesterday. I didn't get a chance to because I wanted to revisit it today. But this is Axios vibes, and when you're talking about fucking the economy, and there is certainly an idea that people's attitudes will impact how they vote, right? Let's just be abundantly clear. Like that, if people are stupid enough to think that Trump is a solution to the Middle East, or that you had that allegedly left-wing woman saying she'd vote for Nikki Haley over Joe Biden because of how she thinks Nikki Haley would be would handle the Middle East, which is she thinks, I guess, that Nikki Haley would cut off Israel or not allow them to attack or any of this. It's just nonsense. The fact that she thinks that just shows how little thought she's put into any of this shit. And the fact that ultimately it's not going to be Nikki Haley anyways. And if it is Trump, he's just going to like win favor with Netanyahu by telling him to flatten the fucking place and let him build a tower there. It's just ridiculous. So anyways, this is America's unhappiest people. Republicans, rural residents, renters, women, and singles disproportionately feel like they're in a big fat funk financially. Our debut Axios Vibes survey by the Harris poll revealed. Why it matters. Not what voters see. The economy's improving with rising wages, how they feel. They could tank President Biden in November. This is what they're talking about. Okay, first of all, the vast majority of the people that they're talking about, even in the areas that they were asking about, women and singles being a thing, and this is like young people, so that's like the youth vote, and again, it's split 50-50 in terms of show up versus not show up, and half of that group, it leans Democratic, and I think women's rights will drive a bigger, group of people to it, but we'll talk about the economic parts of it right now. Zoom in. Inflation has dipped in recent months, but remains top of mind for many Americans. 6 in 10 surveys say that they're now triggered by trips to the grocery store. 6 in 10. Yeah, okay. Republicans are more likely than overall respondents to say they're angry about high prices. Renters are disproportionately likely to say they're anxious. That's because people locked in their house costs or whatever. Like you're not going to talk about like future home buyers or what the cost is looking at because nobody's buying right now because they're waiting for interest rates to go down this year. Grocery prices are the top way. 72% of Americans feel inflation in their daily lives, followed by gas prices, 56%. 2/3 think food will keep getting more expensive. Okay, that's the thing. It isn't that it is more expensive that makes them nervous. It's that when it got expensive and then it will again. And that the world, because it's crazy, because shipping and Russia and grain and stuff they don't understand, that it's going to get more expensive. Not that it is, or that it's too expensive. It's just they look at this is a situation where people are looking at the price and going, oh my God, and it's going to go up from here. And especially, Trumpians, because he tells them all the time it's going to get worse and worse and worse, right? So more than half worry that falling gas prices will reverse. Right. What a fucking weird poll. Okay. The intrigue. Harris research also suggests that many Americans are consuming in denial. This is how fucking nuts this whole thing is. Continuing to spend and run up credit card bills even though they're short on cash, and that they're looking to deflect some of the blame to the leaders in government, said John Garsman, CEO of the Harris poll. So the people that they're talking to are like, oh my God, I'm broke and I don't have any money, and they're spending like drunken sailors themselves. They're using retail therapy to cure their economic anxiety. Super fucking weird. Yeah, that like there's and this is this is the guy. These are the people who conducted the poll, because they not only do focuses, they ask the questions, they look at the data, but they also see longer interviews. They have those little chunks where you go, if you have anything else to say, add it here, right? There's a sense of entitlement that Americans feel like we're worth it, so I might change my vote if I'm not going to change my lifestyle. How it works. Our Vibe survey conducted through 2024 campaign will tap into personal experiences, psychological responses to capture the nation's feelings through a vibe check. The fun part in each Vibe survey, okay, this is what they're selling or whatever. This is median asking rent. This is the vibe. The vibe. And again, a lot of the consumer price index or whatever, it's barely above, and that's the vibe on stuff. Whatever. This is the amount of money, the CPI. Yeah, CPI on here or whatever. So again, this is the introduction of what I would call the slave tax, the anti-slavery tax. Because the minute you remove Chinese manufacturing and the broad supply chains, you get Uyghur slave labor out of picking cotton and the clothing made from it, and stuff gets ever so slightly more expensive, and shipping gets more expensive, or you give people in the United States a living wage who are selling you the shit directly to you, you're going to see a price increase. That's, I mean, this is almost, and you could see probably a spike in sort of racist attitudes in the country right after things got more expensive in the South after World War, or after the Civil War, rather. Yeah. Weep, weep. That's what that is. Rent, on the other hand, again, this is a variable aspect of it. And a lot of it is just people moving to bigger places. So the rent, you can charge more for rent in areas that have better internet because people working from home. They converted a bunch of buildings, so a lot of like standard apartments in a bunch of areas stayed exactly the same, but now they're turning these giant office buildings into lofts and charging $10,000 for rent for them, and people are sharing them and running businesses out of them in New York and other places like that, which again raises the average this way as well. There's a bunch of factors in this, and meanwhile the unemployment rate, bing, down here, right? Humming right along around its lowest ever and just staying there. And then this business right here, personal spending after a little jog because people didn't, shops weren't open 2020. It's right in line. Look at that. Look at that. Without this little crevice, almost no difference. And in this situation, you have it lowering down to, if you look at unemployment rates over the decades, there's a bottom part where I could work, but do I want to? But is that the right job for me? And there's enough people like that and kids going to college and who maybe have a job part of the time, but then their parents go, you're not focusing on your studies, so we'll take care of you while you go to college, or you get a scholarship so you don't have to have a job. You could work, but you're not because you're in school, and you fall into this zone of no longer looking for work, or was looking for work 6 months ago, but this is a year later and now I am, and maybe I'm not. All that area, that's about 3% of the workforce at any given time. So even at total employment, you're going to reach a number somewhere around 3%. So it's almost like 3% would be the unemployment sweet spot, and like 2% is the inflation sweet spot. Does that make sense? Okay, hopefully. I don't know, I'm boring everybody, aren't I, with the fucking math stuff? Okay, 37% of Americans rate their financial situation as poor. That climbs to 42% for Republicans, 43% for women, 46% for rural residents, 47% for singles, and 57% for renters. So all these subgroups, all these folks right here, this group right here, this is the average across the country. Less than 60%, 63% of Americans do not think that they're poor. Do not think they're in this that they're not in an impoverished situation. They have a realistic view of what real poverty is in the world, and they ain't it, and they're aware of it. Meanwhile, 42% of Republicans believe this. 43% for women, which again is a myriad of reasons, right? There's a myriad of reasons why women would feel like their financial situation is poor. Job availability, whether they need an education to do it. Will their job get bounced? There was the man session that happened around after the 2008 crash. It was a similar feeling that there was going to be something like that around COVID, because women nurses and I guess like like administrative jobs or whatever that lean more towards women in those hiring things they would come back faster than construction and working at plants and working at on oil rigs and shit like that, which there was a delay of that, but there was an idea that there would be two-man sessions after that. Now what they're finding is that AI, one of the things it's creating is that some of the excess workforce are women in terms of those jobs. So there AI will shave off more women's jobs early, and then it'll kind of even out as to who it affects. And again, those jobs will probably come back because they'll test it and it won't work, and they're like back and forth. Okay, but anyways, that's where the difference between 37% and 43% for women is. That would be the difference. That would be that 6%. 46% for rural residents, which is the same as Republicans. I mean, effectively, I don't know what the extra 4%, the overlap there is incredible. Other than this, this AI can't babysit. You actually, we'll get to that in a minute. But then, okay, 47% for singles, which again is a huge mix of people who are always on the downside of shit. If I wasn't broke, I'd have a girlfriend, is the idea. That's the part of that in there. And 57% for renters, because renters oftentimes are a not only a group of people, but they are a window of people. People who for a time live at home where their parents probably own their house or pay the rent in the place that they live, and then they move out on their own and they're renting for a time, and they don't know if the rent's going to go up, and they can't, you can't lock it in like a mortgage rate, and unless I guess you have rent control in your area, but the vast majority of people don't. And then you get into a place where you buy a home eventually, and that's or you inherit your parents' home and you move into that, and that happens a lot. So not only are renters not a group, but they are constantly flowing. They're like a river between 2 points most of the time. Just saying. So and again, this is like how we talk about homelessness. Homeless people are not homeless people. They're not permanently homeless. Why is this is so funny, but like my little camera, let me show you. My little camera. Look what my other camera is doing. It's just twitching. I don't know what the heck. It's on a gimbal and it's just flipping the fuck out. I don't know what that is. Huh. Well, there you go. Anyways, so back to where we are. I'm going to turn that off and hopefully. Yeah, it's just weird. It's just jiggling because it looks like I feel like Katharine Hepburn is pointing at me. You old poop. Anyways, so hi, there you go. Back up to you guys. So there you go. So the most unhappy people about the economy are Republicans. Now, here's what I'm going to tell you that they won't tell you. They're full of shit. They're actually doing quite well. They're doing better than most. They're doing, in large part, Republicans in this economy are doing better than Democrats financially. I'm not kidding. But the problem is, they can't admit to that without admitting that they're full of shit, and that Donald Trump didn't do shit. That even his hold on one second. Even his his tax cut didn't benefit their business ultimately. It went to the wrong fucking people. It didn't go to their customer base. That's one of the things is like, if you're the kind of person that like Donald Trump and his ilk, where you're like, how do I get my money out of the United States? They treat America like they treat America like they're renters. If they could just extract the money that they don't have to pay it in taxes. Fuck this place. They could invest it overseas and in shit like that. Like, Jose, Inner City Press Live tweeting, Eugene's trial is amazing. I'll look at the link. We'll check it out. Yeah, they only own 2 homes, not 3, so they feel poor. And I looked at. Let's see if I can do this. This is what they think is bad. This is what they think is why they think the world is crashing around them. Markets want rate cuts faster and sooner, but Fed is pushing back. That's it. Meanwhile, U.S. home builder sentiment increased by most in nearly a year. Wall Street dials back Fed wagers after solid data. That's the other thing, too. Fed swaps trim odds of March interest rate cut to about 50%. U.S. retail sales rise by most in 3 months to cap holidays. This is people spending their gift certificates and all that kind of stuff afterwards. And I agree, the whole fuck the markets idea. But again, they are where the Dow and all that shit used to not be an indicator of how most people live. It used to be just rich people own stocks, and that was that. And then pension schemes and stuff started investing in the stock market, and people got IRAs. And whether you know it or not, your IRA is invested in a lot of stocks, and it's usually a broad index fund. So as the whole thing goes up, yours goes up, and if the whole thing goes down, yours go down. But most people aren't stock pickers in that regard, or weren't for a long time. And even in mass, the average American doesn't isn't involved in the stocks that they have in their portfolio because again, they happen through their IRA or they happen through their pension fund. Now that's different though. Now that's completely fucking different. Now the I've told you this before, but there used to be a period where the Saudis had $1 trillion in the U.S. stock market, $1 trillion, and the threat is that they never had to bomb anywhere. They could just yank their $1 trillion out in 24 hours, just sell everything in 24 hours and crash the fucking market. So we had to tiptoe around the Saudis because of that. Now, retail investors like the Robinhood kids and guys using E-Trade and women using E-Trade and people just, having their own little mini portfolio and having an IRA or a directed IRA where they pick some of the things that they're in, or they have a pool at work. There's a bunch of shit where people are more invested in the stock market because long term an index fund goes up and they're like, okay, yeah, that might outpace having a house, so I'll put my money in that and I'll, instead of buying a house for a while. There's a bunch of city folk that do that, and that's pretty consistent. There's also a bunch of like rural people, like rural 20 somethings that still live on the farm, still live at home, and then are fucking, doing Robinhood trades on their fucking Apple phone while cursing big tech. Just annoying. Anyways, point is, yeah, and well, an AI algorithm could grab those stocks immediately. Well, that's the other thing too, is now individuals have access to AI algorithms to pick stocks. Whether it's a good idea or not is anybody's guess, and none of them have been around long enough to have a worthwhile 5-year plus track record. We'll see how that works out. But that's stuff that was never available to human beings on the average until what, 5 years ago, 7 years ago, maybe. Like you go back E-Trade, what, 2005? When was E-Trade really starting to gain ground? And then it lost out to these other. And so the point is that people are way more involved in the stock market than they admit, and so much so that the retail investors, and this is why they were able to like fuck short sellers who were trying to kill AMC and AMC and GameStop. The reason they were able to kill those things is because there's so many of those fuckers online. I don't know. Remember the meme stock traders, where they were just like found out that these big corporations were buying huge amounts of stock and shorting companies that they liked. They liked going to GameStop, and this company like was buying up a bunch of stock and was going to short it and basically eliminate GameStop, just literally intentionally destroy the company by GME, GME, yes, GME and AMC, and there's a couple of others as well. But they reacted to it. Now, I don't know, what would that reaction have been in the fucking 90s? How many companies went out of business in the late 80s and early 90s because of, poaching by big companies or being bought out or like predatory, hostile takeovers and all that kind of shit, that people that liked those stores, liked those companies, would have still liked to go to that store, and now it's closed and they can't figure out why. I mean, look at, I would argue, Toys R Us. One of the reasons why Toys R Us ate shit and is not around as a company is because the people who took it over in a hostile takeover don't give a fuck about toys or kids or selling toys to kids or having shops that are amazing to go into or any of the things that made Toys R Us the kind of thing that you would put in the movie Big. They didn't give a fuck. They were like, is the margin on this, is this company worth anything more than its parts? And if it's not, we'll sell the fucking parts. Yes, Toys R Us had horrible management, but I would argue it was on purpose, Alyosha. Yes, that's Bain Capital's business model. That's what happened to progressive and liberal radio across the country. They did it on purpose. They went, it's worth more to us in tax breaks than making these channels successful, so we'll scuttle them. So imagine if we'd have had like retail traders, like people, if you had E-Trade and fucking Robinhood and all these things in 1986, right? Imagine if we'd still have a bunch of fucking companies They might have changed over time. Blockbuster might have shifted into something else and been kind of like a movie memorabilia store mixed with like a place where you could buy old video cassettes or reprints of stuff, or retro gear and that kind of stuff. But it wouldn't have been capsized. Kmart, yeah, another great example. Yeah. So, oh, Big used FAO Schwartz, right? You're right. FAO Schwartz was the secondary parent company. The same thing happened to them, but good point. Thank you. So, because that was the one in New York, right? FAO Schwartz in New York. Yeah. Um, but yes, the point is that you had these big like corporations that make and do nothing, that roll in, buy shit up, and sell it off for parts. So, yeah. So there would have been a pushback. There would have been a chance if and their stock price had not capsized, because a bunch of people went, I actually like that store, which is the point, I think, of investing, is it not? I mean, all day traders or fucking barnacles on the whale aside, um, there's like, well, no, didn't the last Blockbuster shut, right? That kind of, yeah, it's a chop shop. That's exactly right. So I I applaud the meme stock guys for doing that, because fuck those dudes who are shorting a company, because here's the thing, those guys who are shorting GameStop in particular knew that it was relatively stable. It probably would have hummed along. They would have closed stores and reopened some stores and moved some stuff as shops do and whatever. But they knew that they could short it, and then word would get out they were shorting it, and that's it. It's done. Just the act of shorting it could make the short work. That's fucked up. That's horrible. That's not business on the merits, and it's terrible. And look what it does to the workers in the area. Look what it does to the surrounding area. You take a store like GameStop out of a small strip mall or even a mall itself. Are the kids that would go to the mall because grandma could take them by there, or they could take them by Spencer's Gifts. Oh, we love Spencer's. But right? Think of all the people who I don't want to go to the mall, stay home and play because I don't need to go there while you go to the mall. So it cuts that customer base out of the whole mall, that kind of thing. Yeah. So, and again, welcome to Wall Street, but it says Twisted Stepsister, but I got to tell you, these are a lot of times, a lot of these are multinational corporations, right? There are GameStop stores in Massachusetts mini malls. Yeah, I know, and that will draw a crowd to that mini mall, extra traffic, a measurable amount of traffic, right, to that area. And if you scuttle it just to fucking scuttle it, what does that do, right? So, and it affects every other store on there. The fucking the like the convenience store that's in there that sells gum and soda and whatever the fuck else to the kids that go to the GameStop and all. The cascading effect on this is huge, especially since they don't really give a fuck. It's not like that's a competitor. They just know that they can make money if it dies. It's such a fucking weird business model. It's awful. So anyways, you see a bunch of that shit in the back and forth about these. I'm sorry, I got off on the rant thing, and I didn't even put my my rant. Let's go back to here. There you go. To you guys. Let's see. There we go. Let's see the fear. Okay. Let's try to find the dollar rose to a 1 month high. Wall Street's fear gauge, the VIX, hit the highest since November. NASDAQ 100 dropped 1%. And again, remember when they used to go, it dropped a whole percentage point. And you're like, yeah, motherfucker, when it was like 300, that's a lot. Now it's 6,000. It can absorb it. There's so much movement. I don't know, like that part of it drives me crazy. And again, this follows into that what I've been telling you guys about the people who refuse to solve for X. And I don't mean the fucking, I should start saying solve for Y simply, right? Speaking of which, let me do this 1 second. Jump over to here and we'll look at some trends because we can for a minute. And I'm almost at that. See, I knew it. Here, okay, here you go. Um, the stock market hash. And it's so funny. Stock market crash is trending uh, in India, so it's trending all over. Uh, yeah, that's hilarious. So here, I'll show you real quick. There it is. Business finance trending. Stock market hashtag stock market crash. And then it's all India stuff. Because I don't know if their stock market is crashing today. It's hard to even tell in that regard. It's very peculiar. This dude skating is hilarious. Yeah, it's like I don't know. It's just an overrun part of this. It must be shocking the blacks for Trump folks. Dear God, there's East Indians everywhere. By the way, this dude's just loving life. Check this guy out. Wee. Please don't eat shit. Please, like, is he in Santa Monica? Is that Hermosa Beach? All right. Great scenes of resistance in versus AFG. I don't even. Yeah, nobody even knows. Anyways, so the point is hashtag stock market crash is trending. Jim Carrey, okay, Maddow, sure. Anderson Cooper, Jennifer Lopez, Judge Kaplan. This will be we'll jump in here. We'll go to the latest on this to see what's been. Judge Kaplan is darn impressive. Oh, yeah, this is the weird part. So, for those of you who don't know, a couple of points I would like to make, and I think these will we can hold on to these solidly. One is, Donald Trump is being taken off the ballot across the country by different states because he violated his oath, not because the American people are being denied a democratic choice. If I've mentioned this before, but it's worth repeating. That if Donald Trump had staged a January 6th in 2016, if he'd have lost in 2016 and January 6th, 2017 had happened, and he did the whole thing, and then he ran again, he would still be able to be on the ballot in 2020 or 2024 or whenever he ran again. Because he had not previously taken an oath to support and defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and uphold and faithfully execute the laws of the country. After you do that, your standard is higher for behavior. That's what's getting him knocked off of ballots. The fact that he took the oath and he cannot be trusted because he broke the oath. That's the point. Very specific. And it's not even, again, insurrectionists, 50 Nick Rich says insurrectionists lose the right to run for office. They don't. The only ones that do are people who have either served in office or taken an oath, whether as police officers all the way up to the president of the United States, to protect and defend the Constitution and faithfully execute the laws. If you haven't taken that yet, you can run for office. You haven't broken the oath, so you can take the oath. If he'd have done this Jan 6, 2017, he could still run for office, even if it was all other things being equal. Okay, just be abundantly clear. And so when people are going, the American people are being denied their right to vote for who they want to, or like, no, motherfucker. The reason is he took the oath and he broke the oath. If he hadn't done this, if he'd done this before he took the oath, he'd still be able to run. That's the rule. It's the same as, being older than 35 or younger than 35. Yeah. Being a U.S. citizen implies an oath to our Constitution. No, it doesn't. It does not imply, no, because citizenship in the United States is a birthright, and it is not based on you taking an oath. You have to take the specific oath, by the way, to defend the rules. You can participate in them, but you don't have a responsibility to take up arms as a citizen. You cannot be just randomly called up. So, yeah. Now this, I agree. Plenty of insurrectionists in Congress. Yes, a lot of them absolutely should have, shouldn't be able to run again either. That's another conversation as well. Completely, the problem, yes, he is running, but he can't hold office. That's the issue. Yeah, he took the oath of office and he broke it. That's why he shouldn't be on the ballot. That's the argument. Not whether he's been charged with insurrection or whether he's been found guilty of it is immaterial, because and again, the Supreme Court's not going to ultimately see this because he has a remedy already he has not sought, which is to seek a vote in the House and Senate to get himself reinstated on the ballot. And he would have to go through that process and get 60% in each place and see if he can get it, which is effectively the impeachment and removal from office aspect of what the Senate did. They would have a do-over on that. They would have to make a do-over on that. Yeah. So, yeah. Yes. So, myriad, there you go. Now, this is the other thing too, is that he said they want to adjourn the trial for a day so Trump can attend the funeral. Okay, he never went to a single day of the original trial. He's not testifying this week. There is no new information being introduced in this except the furtherance of him continuing to defame her. So you can't relitigate the case. That's settled. So he's not going to be able to do fucking anything. Even if she brings it up again just to remind the jury what happened, it doesn't change the material facts. They know the material facts. What she's saying is just she's trying to express emotionally how it affected her, and that's where these damages come from. But him going, fuck her, is not enough. You can't dissuade someone's emotional impact for something the court agrees actually occurred. And that whatever. Anyways, so the back and forth about this is particularly hilarious because Trump can go to his mother-in-law's funeral. The only reason I can see that he would have an issue with this is that if he was intending on taking Alina Habba as his date, that's to his wife's mother's funeral. That's the only thing that makes sense. She wants the day off so she can go as his date to his wife's mother's funeral. That's it. That's all. Yeah. That's the only thing that makes any sense in this, because the rest of it is all just horseshit. Yeah, as you do. He's slamming the desk in court. Oh, I hope so. I hope he gets thrown out of the courtroom. I mean, he's kind of trying to. Yeah. By the way, for the record, Trump argued in court that he is not an officer of the court, or sorry, of the country. He is above the officers of the country. He's an officiator, not an officer, whatever. And therefore, he doesn't take an oath to the Constitution like everybody else does. He can do with it what he feels like he wants to do. Oh, hold on. Somebody was saying stock market is trending because what? Because Trump said what? Ew. Is the funeral in Slovenia? Honest to God, I don't know. I don't think so. She lives in Maryland, I think, right? Might be in DC. Yeah. So, I don't know why Ted Cruz is trending, other than the fact that it's really fucking cold in, right. Ted Cruz in 2016 saying Trump is a pathological liar, and then endorsing him tonight. I see. Yeah, but that was pre-Beard.
He doesn't know the difference between truth and lies. He lies practically every word that comes out of his mouth. I don't get angry often.
But when I do, I still sound like a total weenie. I don't know what it is. How I ended up with George H.W. Bush voice is anybody's fucking question. Yeah, so that's why everybody's kind of making the point.
Podcast verdict with Ted Cruz. About on my podcast verdict with Ted Cruz. About on my podcast verdict.
Jesus. Judge says E.G. Carroll allegation Trump raped her is substantially true in court dismissal. Yeah. That's fun. That's their guy. Oh, and is this him walking out? Oh, this is him walking down the steps. Yeah, what a random bunch of assholes. Oh, yeah, we've seen a couple of those things. Oh, can I? You know what? Fuck it. I'm hanging out with you guys anyways. Can I show you guys something that I discovered? And this is more of an afternoon thing. But I discovered something in and amongst all the fucking crazy that I watch. Um, Dealing with, let's see. Yeah. Yeah, there's one. I don't know if it like, was there a shorter one? No, this is it. Okay. So let me show you something. So I know this is more of an afternoon thing. I don't usually cover clips during the morning show. But this is from a show that's out of Minnesota. On it's called the channel's called Alpha News, which is Jesus-y. Let me just warn you ahead of time. The name Alpha News comes from like I am the Alpha and the Omega. I don't know why wouldn't be Omega News since that's the end of it, the beginning and the end. All right. Anyways, so this is they have on for whatever reason the lady who does this show, Liz Collin, has on Jan Sixers on the regular. Now, we've all heard second and third hand from Jan Sixers who are involved, who are on trial or facing some sort of, legal problem, what have you. And the argument, I mean, well, you'll see. But I just want to introduce you to this horse shit, because this is the root of all that nonsense. We see this all the time in like people arguing that Trump calling these people hostages and saying that they're political prisoners and all that kind of stuff. Well, that comes from the people who are actually charged and how they talk about it. And I haven't seen that many interviews with these dumb motherfuckers because in large part they're at least smart enough to stay off of the internet and not get themselves into a hole, especially when in the case of this particular lady, not the host, but the woman she has on, who was offered a plea deal and blew it off.
Welcome to Liz Collin Reports. On the
thanks.
podcast, she's now known as a J6er. A Rochester woman is speaking out ahead of her May trial. Victoria White faces multiple federal charges stemming from January 6th.
Also, this lady, so I was saying that the adding of footage, the releasing of footage over the last 6 months or whatever, even the little trickle that they've had on Tucker and other shows has actually gotten more of them in trouble. Yeah, she's one of these fucking people. And I'll show you what I mean.
2021. New video is shedding a very different light on what went on that day more than 2 years ago. Victoria is here to talk about that video and the latest developments in her case. Victoria.
One of these things is not like the other. I'm just going to say that as a brunette, I think I have a lot more fun. I'm just saying. Good. Anyway.
Victoria, thank you so much for joining me.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for having me on.
I do want to start with that video. It's something that came to light just recently. It's quite graphic. I want to warn our viewers, our listeners about.
Why would that be? Is there violence involved? It was a peaceful, these were just tourists.
About that, but it's from the Lower West Terrace Tunnel at the U.S. Capitol, just to set the scene a bit.
No, it's not. Not where that picture was from, but maybe the extra.
Talk about that, though. When did you see this for the first time, and what does it show?
Wait, also, this is footage of her at the Capitol. And notice, when did you see this footage for the first time? Okay, first of all, fucko, she was there.
It's body cam footage, and it shows not just one officer beating me, but multiple, which...
Okay, yeah, by the way, look at the fucking crowd back here. Holy fucking shit. This lady is right there. She's in this group right here. She's past the first two shields. They are shoving cops. There are two other people in another video this dumbass has. She has this woman on whose sons are going to jail because they're right over there beating police officers with riot shields. No shit. Anyways, she's helping them secure. The reason she has her hand on the wall is she's trying to, as they make progress pushing the cops, there are a bunch of them. They're like, hold, and there's the heave-hoing going on. Jesus Christ. Like,
You couldn't really tell from the older video that was out. And actually, this video
right, because she's hitting cops and she's fucking holding the wall.
was not turned over to myself and my attorney with our discovery so we can prepare for our case, which is actually illegal for the prosecution.
By the way, she passed out and the cops like picked her up basically and moved her out of the way because she was getting hit by her people and the cops and all this stuff, and she's bleeding from her head because she got God knows what happened. She got hit with a shield or whacked with a baton or some stuff like that. But she was fighting with police officers. That's what you look like, dum-dum. The fuck? First of all, and do you think she would give a rat fuck about anybody in one of the George Floyd riots, for example, that was in an exchange with police officers? Get the fuck out of here. You're like, why aren't those people bleeding? They're just treating them with kid gloves.
To do. So you can just imagine how surprised I was when a journalist sent me this video footage.
And that was just a couple of
A journalist sent me this video footage. Okay. And again, a journalist. Well, like, was it Benny Johnson? This is from the new trove of shit. This makes you look worse, lady. The journalist allegedly that sent it to you, the case she's making is that the prosecution has this video of her and they're going to use it against her. They didn't share it with her. So she was going to bullshit. I wasn't even there. And now she finds out they have footage of her there and she's crying foul because they have footage of her fucking present. And the reason the prosecution just got it is because the Benny Johnsons of the world and stuff were releasing this fucking footage because they didn't give a rat fuck. They were like, look how these cops are hitting people. And they're like, yeah, but you do realize they're defending themselves. There's a giant crowd outside. This idiot is one of them. And she's going to get more time. She told them to go fuck themselves on a plea deal because she thought this footage didn't exist.
weeks ago, correct?
Correct. Yep. Correct.
And you can really.
By the way, her trial is May 9th. Her trial is May 9th. Is it her in the video? Yes. Does it show what she's... Yes. Is there extra footage that is not being... that shows her that they're not using? No.
Really see up close, is it about 40 times that you're struck? Is that right?
All right.
The one officer in white, he was a lieutenant at the time. He's now been promoted to
Well, yeah, he did a great job.
commander. Struck me 40 times with a collapsible metal baton, and also punched me 5 times in the face. As
She's striking police officers like with her hands down here, by the way, during the footage. You can see her do it when she passes somebody, when they pass her through in the earlier
well
footage.
as him and other officers jabbing me with their batons.
And
Did they? And they just walked up to you on the street and they stopped you and they frisked you and then they just started whacking you with a baton. How long were these batons? I understand that you were 16 blocks away at Kramer Books having a nice breakfast.
I want to mention too, this happens just within a 3 or 4 minute time period.
Correct.
Yeah, well, she couldn't hold out for very long. I mean, you hit her that number of times in a couple seconds, she's gonna pass out or stop fighting, or that she's either gonna have to be brought through in this way and cuffed and put someplace, or you're gonna be shoved back out.
You basically black out, but what do you remember from what happened in the tunnel?
The tunnel that you were seeing when Jesus told you to go to the Capitol.
What are your first memories from that day?
I remember immediately like just being squished and trying to
Just randomly squished. After you got past these cops, after you got past those shields, after you were hitting these guys, Then they're like, fuck, a minute ago I was eating a fucking salted pretzel listening to my favorite president, Donald John Trump, down at the Ellipse. Next thing I know, I'm like an egg surrounded by sperm.
Keep myself from not falling down, trying to breathe. And
yeah, like imagine how the cops felt.
And as that's going on, that's my main focus, is to stay alive, not fall.
Oh, by the way, I forgot. Yeah, this is great fucking footage. This is one of the ladders from the scaffolding that these motherfuckers were shoving in at the cops to try and get into the tunnel so they could go up into the building and kill Congress people. She's in the front of this shit. These are cop shields that they have picked up from cops they have assaulted and are jamming into the faces of cops. Look at this fucking ladder. She's right there. I am an innocent maggot. Hey, yes, I am.
And be trampled, be able to breathe because it's so tight. Then
it is tight. It's very tight. Imagine wearing all that hot gear. How hot you'd feel. Look at all these. She was just trying to back the blue. That's all she was trying to do.
And the next thing I know, I'm getting maced, but it's not.
Look, I'm not trying to take pleasure in this, but they had to hit her 40 times with a baton, punch her in the face 3 times, and mace her to get her to stop trying to kill police officers.
Not typical like mace. I've found out that they use something.
She's used to being maced, at sorority meetings and stuff. It's just kind of a thing. I'm not here to yuck anybody's yum.
Called OC spray. It's
yeah, it comes from Orange County. It's really terrible. It's it's the mayor of Orange County's aftershave. It is the most conservative, caustic chemical in the world.
I guess you could say a more potent type of mace. And then the next thing I know comes a blow to my head, and then I'm just like instantly thrown back to like the times in my past with my ex. I was in a severe domestically abusive relationship.
With 35 police officers that you tried to murder? She was in a severe... bless her heart. What the fuck? So, let me get this straight. So after being hit with a baton 40 times and punched in the face at least 3 times, I saw, maybe more, and then sprayed with mace and then conked on the head with a baton, it was the final conk on the head with the baton after being uber maced that triggered your memories of your ex?
Then I just blacked out.
Tell people what you were trying to do.
Oh, by the way, the edits on this are fucking choice. You can tell they like cut out when she was like, I thought the cops were going to kill me or some bullshit like that. Her lawyer or this show or both went, yeah, I cut that. Don't put that part in.
Do in that moment. Why were you in that tunnel in the first place?
Good question, Liz. Well done.
So I had stopped 2 men from breaking the Capitol window, and then after other guys that were...
That's not her in the red hat.
But I physically tried, and yelled at them as well. And then with the second guy, when I went to pull him down, a group of men pulled me off of him. And then they're yelling things like, throw her in the window, stuff like that. So...
These are all maggots, and they're all yelling fed at each other, and they think they're fucking Antifa, and they punch the fuck out of each other, and then they're all on video later having a drink together. It's again, none of those. Notice the total lack of that guy was Antifa. We saw him at this event. This guy, you can see his face clearly when he does this, and he was not there to support. He didn't vote for Trump. Like none of that shit. They just zip by. That she didn't like some of the violence, she liked other violence. So she magically, and by the way, again, she's in this crowd of people like gacking around, some mass, some not. This dude in his, because who doesn't show up at a fucking rally with a military helmet with a GoPro on the top of it? Like, nobody knew. They were just showing up. Like the number of dudes with body armor in the photos and video that she shows is fucking hilarious.
As well. And then with the second guy, when I went to pull him down, a group of men pulled me off of him. And then they're yelling things like throw her in the window, stuff like that. So I got scared. And so
I got scared and I left the premises. I just left because this is dangerous and it's off kilter. And I just came there to support my president, the real president, Donald Trump. So I went to a phone booth and I said, they're going to need more police down here because some of these people are not maggots. They are attacking
I wanted to go up to the next tier because just to get to that level that I was at, you had to go through an enclosed staircase. So I turned my attention toward the arch, which was the tunnel, which I had no idea it actually would eventually lead into the Capitol.
Yeah, isn't that weird? The tunnel to the Capitol leads into the Capitol. The actual, you mean where everybody was shoving through? No idea.
And I just know there was a lot of people, and then
yeah, there was just a lot of people. And none of them, it's not like they were all dressed alike, shouting the same shit. It's not like they had brought hornet spray and knives and guns themselves. And they were just people. You know what I mean? People are people, so why should it be? You and I should punch officers awfully. Bonk, bonk, bonk.
And I go to step down to hand someone a water bottle.
Yeah, that's all. She was the water lady.
And then I'm like instantly like engulfed.
Yeah, it was like a tide of peaceful tourism that I got caught up in.
Like a tide or something just coming in, I'm just fighting to stay up.
So you were charged in an indictment.
That was an edit.
A year later, so this is January 2022, with civil disorder, aiding and abetting, entering and remaining in a restricted building, disorderly and disruptive conduct inside a restricted building. You've pleaded not guilty. Just explain that, why you were there in D.C. that day. And
excuse me, Liz, if I may. No one gives a rat fuck why she was in D.C. that day. Nobody cares. I don't give a fuck if she was there. I don't care what she was doing there. Why was she at the Capitol attacking police officers? That's what matters. There are a bunch of, you could walk around Washington, D.C. and go, why are you in D.C.? And some people go, I live here. Others will say, I work here and I live in Baltimore. Or I just flew in to see the sights in the museum. There's a lot of reasons to be in D.C. None of them have to do with whatever fucking crime you committed, except the locality of the crime itself.
And your goal of all of this?
I was just there to see Trump and...
Yeah, well... mission accomplished, and then you could just walk that way, I guess, and then, no?
To let it be known, like, in the sense, like, if a lot of people came, I felt that they would see there's no way that he didn't win. He lost the election. There's no way that he lost it, especially to Biden.
You do realize there were more women and people, I was there myself, I'm not a woman, but I was there, at the Women's March when Trump won. That didn't mean he lost that election. There were far more people in D.C. for that than there were for his inauguration, and of course, well, never mind.
And I thought it would just be also to like a typical Trump rally. And
yeah, typical, but with like a little extra violence.
I had no idea we were going to go to the Capitol.
Mm-hmm. So you weren't prepared to go, you weren't going to go to the Capitol. You just went out of the millions of people you think were there. You and 6,000 of your closest friends just went that way. Oh, wait. Yeah, she's not getting legal aid from Trump. This woman is not getting legal aid. She's not getting her bills paid by Trump, just for the record. And she was not pardoned by him, also, for the record.
Yeah, it was a really, like, happy, joyous time.
It was such a joyous time. Until the cop stomping started.
Up until
I blacked out.
Capitol. Even on the way to the Capitol, we were some of the last people to leave the ellipse.
So you knew on social media that violence was already starting, that cops were being beaten. You could hear people screaming about it, all that kind of stuff. It wasn't even like the first ones there before it broke out. By the time you got there, you're like, shit, it's all over Twitter. People are yelling, they're videotaping it, and they're tearing down the scaffolding for the inauguration that's been put up.
And as we got close to the Capitol, there were no signs saying "Do not come."
You mean the barriers that were knocked down? That there were no cops there that hadn't had their ass kicked
No
already?
police shutting anything down. All you saw is a massive amount of people just waiting.
Right, and cops that were outnumbered getting stomped. Also, you were that late showing up and you still managed to be on the front line of 2 of the attacks. You were at the glass when it was broken early, and you were in front of the push to go into the tunnel that the cops held back, and you were late getting there. You think this lady is mad about some of this footage because of that pesky little thing we like to call a timestamp?
Waving flags, singing, and nothing.
Yeah, they were singing. Yeah. Hang Mike Pence. Da da da. Shoot Nancy Pelosi in her head. 2, 3. Hang. Yeah, they were all. Yeah, it was all fucking. It was a candlelight vigil.
Like, what happened?
Bring us up
I don't know what happened. The next thing I know,
to date here. You were scheduled to enter into a plea agreement last month, Victoria, but what changed?
I just felt like I just want this all to be over, and I was just really.
by the way, they edited another chunk of that part of her answer clearly, because she would go, "Why'd you enter into the plea?" Because I wanted it to be over. They were trying to slice that together, but she obviously rambled something they couldn't air.
Beyond stress. But when I went there to DC, which was approved, because I had court, I had went to the DC Vigil, which they hold every night.
Oh, the vigil. I love vigils. That's is that like vestigial, or is that the J6ers are all, they've been in jail so long they're growing tails? Sorry.
Outside of the jail where men have been locked up for 2 years pre-trial.
Right, but only the like violent ones who have told the court that if they're let out, they will do it again.
And being tortured.
No, they're not being tortured.
And when I say all types of bad things happen to them
well, their fake president lost, so I guess it's all downhill from there.
The guards.
Also, by the way, you can just so this idiot can fucking just go on this show and accuse the guards at the DC jail, who are holding a bunch of these Jan 6 fuckos, of torture and political violence with no fucking evidence. Oh, and by the way, when those people are on the phone, those people, the Jan 6ers, they get on the phone and then they play it over a loudspeaker. So those people talk to these people who show up for the vigil. Sorry, the vestigial.
And the guys call in and they have them speak, and then it goes onto a microphone so you can hear, everyone can hear.
Or speaker, but sure.
Speaker.
And do they tell you they're being tortured? Do you hear the screams in the background of the other people being tortured? Or what's your definition of torture? That they're not allowed to wear their MAGA hats?
My heart just broke, and I think God allowed me to live.
The cops allowed you to live. Are you out of your fucking mind? They could have kept hitting you, but they're police officers, not soldiers.
For a reason. I have always thought that since day one. Like, I should be dead.
Don't.
But he allowed me to live for a reason, and
Yeah, and obviously he didn't feel the same way about Roseanne Boylan, I guess, because fuck her.
Believe it's to speak the truth and to tell people what happened that day.
So he thinks you're a better speaker than Ashley Babbitt, then, I guess. So what you're saying is that God thinks you have a better speaking voice and you're just got more charisma. And so that's why he was like, she should live, but fuck Ashley Babbitt, she should die. Like, that's the kind of choices God was making on that day.
And what's continuing to happen to American citizens, not just our rights are being stripped away,
like
our families are being destroyed.
Well, Are they though?
It's really sad and disgusting what's going on. Yeah.
What is going on? Why is your family being destroyed? You mean because some of your family turned you the fuck in?
And you alluded to this, Victoria, but it was last month then prosecutors asked a judge to put you in jail because of that trip to D.C. And I understand that you were on Capitol Hill and you were able to meet with some GOP lawmakers. Talk about.
Oh, right. So she went to the vigil, the vestigial, for shizzle, manizzle. And while she was there, I think, who'd she meet with? She met with Lauren Boebert.
About who was with you and who you did talk to.
Yeah, so Lauren Bart gave us 30.
Boebert Bart. I didn't realize she's married. I guess a villain from an old Western movie, Black Bart, married Lauren Boebert, and she's gone hyphenated Lauren Blobert Bart, Blobart. Blobart, sure. Why not? Why did she? I would if she should change her name. Honestly, I'm surprised there's not a porn star using that name right now.
Minutes, and we just asked for investigation, and
you got one, and now you're going to jail.
Into Ashley Babbitt's murder.
Oh, Babbitt. It's a little difficult when you don't fuck her name up. Ashley Babbitt.
And
hey, Babbitt!
And into Ashley Babbitt's murder, Roseanne.
Yeah, she wasn't murdered. Oh,
a lot of people may not know there's actually 4 January 6th attendees who were murdered.
Get the fuck out of here! No, they weren't. First of all, Ashley Babbitt was not murdered. She was trying to breach a blockaded door to try and, with a crowd of people, a riot of people, try to fucking kill somebody. And she had a knife on her. Get the fuck out of here. She wasn't murdered. She was shot. If a man is pointing a gun on the opposite side of a barricaded door, don't go through that door. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Fucked up. But then on top of that, Roseanne Boylan died of a drug overdose, and that was partly triggered by the fact that she was in the crush of maggots, and then when she fell down, they stepped on her. So, okay, perhaps some of them knew her, and they stepped on her on purpose, and this is, I guess, add this to the maggot body count that day?
So, Ashley Babbitt, Roseanne Boylan, Kevin Greaston.
Kevin Greaston. No idea. Hold on. Hold on. $55. Oh, right. This is the guy who supposedly tased himself. Wife told us that there was no truth to the allegation husband's heart attack was the result of him accidentally tasing himself. Greason said that her husband attended the Capitol riot but never entered the building. Kevin told his wife he was in a safe area, but then he described seeing people pushing a barrier. He just stopped talking. I could hear all the people. That's when he had the heart attack. He died instantly. So, okay. So this is Greason. Did she say Greaston? Shit. Hold on. Greason is the guy's name.
So, Ashley Babbitt, Roseanne Boylan, Kevin Greaston, and
Greason. Okay. Greason, not Greaseton. Greason. You're talking about people you're saying are murdered. At least get their fucking names right. Remember the guy who tased himself and had a heart attack and died? That's that story about that guy. Okay. There's no evidence that he tased himself that gave him the heart attack. Greason said that her husband was a supporter of U.S. President Donald Trump and that he was excited to go to a once-in-a-lifetime event. Yes, a final one. But she denied allegations that her husband had stolen a painting or that he had even made it inside the Capitol, or for that matter, and he certainly didn't, quote, taser his balls. According to Grease, her husband did not have a gun or a taser with him during the riot. Some stole them from cops, by the way, to her knowledge, but he was only carrying a flagpole. And he claims that he had, quote, tasered his balls while stealing a painting. Could not be farther from the truth, according to his wife. By the way, this is Greason right here. That's him. There he is. And we want you to know, he did not die from ball tasing. He just had a heart attack while he was storming the steps. But according to this dipshit, he was murdered. She says he was fucking murdered. Is his wife named Karen? I wouldn't be surprised. So here we go. Back to this shit.
Benjamin Phillips.
Okay, Benjamin Phillips. I don't know Benjamin Phillips either. Let's look up Benjamin Phillips. Certainly he was murdered. We know Ashley Babbitt wasn't. We know Reza and Boylan wasn't. We know Greason wasn't. So let's say Benjamin Phillips, January 6th. Okay. Okay. DC. Okay. This is the two civilian. Ashley Babbitt was shot. Benjamin Phillips, 50 years old. Wow, 4 years younger than me. Died of natural causes due to cardiovascular disease. The medical examiner ruled that Roseanne Boylan of Kennesaw, Georgia, died of accidental acute amphetamine intoxication. No other details of the death were revealed. Officials declined to elaborate. Autopsy reports are not public in the district, but are given to family members upon request. The drug site in Boylan's death is addictive and can be prescribed to treat attention deficit disorder and narcolepsy. Oh, she was on fucking Ritalin and Adderall, and she probably had a nootropics jack that day. Relatives of Greason, Phillips, and Boylan, they did not comment or could not be reached on Wednesday. Yeah, that's the only one I could find in there. Let's see. There you go. Who is... Okay, so this is the dude. He died of a stroke. This is Benjamin Phillips, Pennsylvania man, 50, died of a stroke at the Capitol riots created by pro-Trump websites. Unfaithful day, January 5 shocking deaths. Ashley Babbitt, 35, 3 Trumps. Who was he? Born in 1970, he's a year younger than I am. Founder of a pro-Trump social media site called Trumparoo. Web developer, computer programmer, is spilling more details about his life. He said in an interview he moved to Bloomsburg to take care of his mother. Once the group reached Washington, he left them to find a place to park. It seems the first day of the rest of our lives, to be honest. This should be named Year Zero because something will happen. Because he believed that it had been stolen. Reports say other states he were staying at his home. He said, my hostel is already full. Statement from ex-wife of Benjamin Phillips, who also died at the Capitol yesterday. I confirm that I was married to Benjamin Phillips in 1999-2004. Since our divorce in 2004, we have no relationship. Occasionally care of 2 teenage children. My children are grieving and processing yesterday's shocking events. I respectfully request privacy. How did he die? Member of the group from Honesdale, Gordy Smith, said several people called Phillips when it was time to leave, but he didn't arrive. One of those calls was answered by Washington police. Told police suffered a stroke and died at Washington University Hospital. Everyone was shocked. It was a very somber drive home. He did not show up to meet them for their 6 year. Oh, so he was at the Capitol. He died the next morning. I thought the whole thing about like sick Nick is full of shit, right? Okay. Of all the people killed during the hate and insanity that happened towards our country, said that, like, these are Twitter. Our nation. Okay. Yeah. All right. So, anyways, that's who this dipshit says he was fucking murdered. He died of a stroke the next day.
And even
Oh, I see. He dropped off his people and then he went to park the van. He never showed back up. They called an ambulance because he had a stroke in the van and somebody else took him to the hospital. Fucking first responders, man. Let's give it up for our first responders. Dragging somebody to the fucking hospital that was planning to beat the fuck out of them that day. Eat shit, ACAB bastards. You ACAB assholes.
that's who we know that died on that date. And then we also asked for investigation into.
By the way, you know, I don't know whether Lauren Boebert has helped this young lady out, but I'm glad to have done it. I did my own investigation. It didn't take very long at all.
The fact that we still have political prisoners, because that's what they are.
No, they're not.
Men who've been locked up pre-trial for 2 years.
Right. And the people that were with them that day, many of them engaged in the exact same behaviors. A lot of them went home and were released on their own recognizance or to their families or whatever. These motherfuckers, why in particular? What do you think? Do you think there's a difference between people? Like when a judge sees 10 people and 9 of them go home, one of them doesn't, and they're all the same people?
Yeah.
And you filed a lawsuit of your own against the DC police
Real quick, how does everybody think that
for
went?
everything that happened to you for your attack.
And then this footage came out.
Where does that stand?
I had asked for it to be dropped just so I can deal with the criminal trials first.
Your criminal trial. You're not charging them with a crime. It's the other way around.
It's a lot.
It is. It's a lot. It's a lot.
Just to go through. So the judge.
You mean, what is a lot? The footage of you attacking police officers on that day and encouraging other people to do it and engaging in it yourself? And them, by the way, after getting you to dislodge where you were trying to block them so that other people could get past them and kill people, they still rendered medical aid to you, you dumbass.
That I could come back after my criminal trial is done.
Was he snickering the whole time? Was the judge going, tell you what, after after sentencing in your, after your trial, feel free. Yeah, file a, you know what, young lady, you do you.
And
he give you the Patrick Bateman face, you know?
Suing them, yeah.
And you have a court date, I know, scheduled for later this week. Talk about your expectations for that hearing, and then you are...
I will say, for the record, though, I don't have much hope for her expectations since they're so... all of her expectations are completely out of alignment with reality.
Set for trial as of this point for May 8th.
Correct. I'm hoping, because I had to fire my public defender.
Jesus Christ. And look at that. I thought you guys were being denied due process. Right? Oh, fuck me. Come on now. I thought you guys were just being locked up. You weren't getting your due process at all. You had a public defender this whole fucking time? Of course she did, by the way. They all do.
I mean, the first 2 body cams that had came out that was exculpatory.
None of them are exculpatory, lady.
Then there was a 3rd one, and that was it. I'm just, I needed to have someone who's,
yeah, there's 2 videos that were exculpatory that were not germane to the charges that I was dealing with of me in another place. And then I didn't get to crime until much later. Since they're not charging me with loitering outside the bank and only the bank robbery, I think the fact that they dropped the loitering charge is exculpatory. Get the fuck out of here.
I'm going to make sure that things like that either don't happen, or when they do, that the prosecution is held responsible.
Oh, by the way, the prosecution didn't even have these videos. Literally, the House releasing, there's too much footage for them to fucking go through. She's not one of their prime candidates to go to jail. They've got her on, they've got other footage. They didn't need to go on a fucking deep dive. She's clearly fucking there. She's clearly engaged in violence. She's right in the fucking front and then lies about showing up late. Like, it's just fucking lame.
So I have a new attorney, a paid one. And
as opposed to the free one you were getting for 2 fucking years?
Hopefully the judge will allow trial to be pushed back so that we can go through discovery. And a lot of people also may not know that January 6th defendants cannot see their own discovery.
Yeah, they can. Otherwise, it wouldn't be Discovery. On Discovery is the other stuff you get from them. Yes, you can.
And
No, Ed's 3D Tech, she was not defending herself. She had a public defender. We were defending her. The American people, the very people who stand for the flag that her buddies weaponized on that day and used the flagpole to fucking stab cops. We paid for her to have representation.
the little bit that they allow the attorneys to be able to see and then show their clients, it's ridiculous. That's why it's really
Here's what's ridiculous: that you think you need more. Like, let me explain something to you, ma'am. Your attorney, whether public or not, is going to look at that footage and go, okay, I've seen enough. Let's take a plea deal. Take a fucking plea. Take a fucking plea. Because if they play all of this, you're fucked. You're gonna do 15 fucking years. Does it get better after this? Do you start hugging cops past this point? I don't really remember. Fuck, Your Honor. She wants to take a plea. No, I don't. Yes, you do. She does. Please stop playing the video. Cut. Thank you. This is because it's devastating to my case.
important that the 44, I found out it's now 44,000 instead of 14,000 or 41,000. It's now 40, and they keep changing how the amount of footage.
This is 44,000 hours of video.
Yeah, it feels like how much we've been watching of you bullshitting. It's not in a row, dumb fuck. It's 44,000 concurrent hours. Jan 6 was not, 13 weeks long, whatever the fuck, 7 months. However, fuck, hold on. Sorry, my bad. I way counted off. It's 3 fucking years. Yeah, it's 1,000 hours. So it's 3+ years, 3 and change.
Yeah.
Yeah. We were there a long time. Really, I feel like I owe back rent.
Which is pertinent. How can we properly defend ourselves if
You're not in all of it, dumb fuck. You know where? I'll tell you how. God damn it. You know where you were. You don't have to watch the footage for the other side of the building. You don't have to watch the footage for the west side of the building or the east side of the building. You went from here to here to here, down to here, and there. And then that's all you need. You need any footage that they know of that was taken in this certain area during, and you know when, because you're time stamped on the shit they have. God damn. There's no way there's tons of footage that doesn't show me at the Capitol at all. Yes, that's true. There's also an equal amount of footage that doesn't show you in Yellowstone at the exact same time. You fucking cuckoo bird.
we can't even see our own discovery?
Yes, you can.
So it's ridiculous.
Also, they say this, and I don't even think she knows what the fuck she's talking about. Like, I gotta say, like, she says that sentence like she's saying something. That's not a sentence.
Yeah.
Explain what this has done to your life. And I think a lot of people ask you this too. Do you regret making that trip to DC at this point?
Oh, of course not.
Even though it's ruined my life, and it has, I don't regret it.
By the way, she's in a motel right now. Well, a hotel. She's definitely, this is not a home where she's sitting. She's sitting in the corner. That is, believe me, as a touring comedian and musician, that's hotel paint. Let me tell you, nobody chooses that particular beige. It's somewhere between white and stained, with it's easy to clean.
Because I didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah, you did. You did a shit ton of stuff wrong. Even just getting caught would be wrong. Do you understand where, like, if you actually were planning on helping Trump that day, you fucked up. You didn't do it. You contributed to the narrative that you were a murderous mob. You fucked up. You did. You screwed up.
I came to support my president, who's Donald Trump.
Well, he was at that time. A couple weeks later, not so much.
And to let.
By the way, I went to Obama's inauguration to support my president. It didn't involve me kicking anyone's ass. That's how I did. I went to the inauguration. I'd be curious to see if this lady was at the inauguration for Trump.
My face and voice be heard in the sense that, yes, I voted for him. And look, there were at least 1 million to 2 million people there that day.
No, there weren't. There was not. Seriously, there was not 2 million people there. There was not 1 million people there. Fuck off.
Despite what the mainstream media tries to say, that there were only so many thousands. No, it was.
No, the media says that there were only so many thousands that attacked the Capitol. They're doing you a fucking favor, dum-dum. I think they said there were a couple 100,000 people there, and only about 6,000 or 10,000 of them went to the Capitol and were engaged in shit, and only about less than 1,000 of those motherfuckers have been arrested or charged or had taken a plea or any of that stuff. And you got about like maybe 2,000 more people who have indictments against them that they're trying to either find or that they're negotiating with their fucking attorneys.
Definitely at least 1 million, if not 2 million. I don't know. There was there were so many people.
Yeah, and how many of them went to the Capitol and fucked up cops? You, and your friends and you. What the fuck? This does not help you, dummy. The more people that were all right. This is where you shit the bed in a counter argument. The more people you say were actually at the ellipse speech or whatever, I guess the lawn, wherever it was, to listen to Trump, the more people that were there, the more extreme the small group that attacked the Capitol looks. Do you understand? If it was 30,000 people and a third of them attacked the fucking Capitol, and you're like, we were all there and all got caught up because it was just he drove the. But if your argument is you ended up with a group of about 3,000 to 5,000 people who attacked the Capitol that day, and 1.5 million people went, fuck that, I don't know, I ain't doing that shit. It's illegal, it's immoral, it's wrong, and I don't like him that much. Bye. Like, you do realize the more people that were there, the worse you look. Ugh. And seriously,
even outside, it's packed.
And if I don't stand for freedom and use my voice to do it,
nobody had a problem with you fucking saying anything. Using your voice wasn't the problem. Technically speaking, it was using your body as a weapon, as a member of a mob. Did you stand outside and sing and yell? No, you didn't. Fuck off.
The First Amendment is first for a reason.
Jesus Christ. Yes, that's right. And we all share in it equally. And you don't get to bully your way into Congress and steal everyone else's rights because you feel like yours are slighted or you're not getting your own fucking way. The cops that were protecting the Capitol that day were protecting all of our freedom of speech from you and your dictator monarchical dickhead.
And I don't regret it because it's...
Okay. Again, I don't have to tell you guys about the power of regret. It's important. You got to recognize that you should regret some shit in your life. I regret things. I certainly do. I regret many times in my life where I didn't live up to my better standards, and it informs my behavior at all points, and I have no doubt I will fall short in the future. I, like every other fucking human being on this planet, is constantly trying to improve themselves. Well, with a rare exception. But regrets have value. If only to go, I'm not doing that shit again.
It's what I can do for my country.
And of those numbers,
beat cops?
As you're talking, it's 900 to 1,000 people at this point, right, who have been charged in the wake of all of this.
Yeah, and weird. Yeah, you must be in a special class of people. You're onto something, fucking Liz. There were 1.5 million people there, and only 1,000 dumb motherfuckers who got people killed and attacked police officers and brought fucking hornet spray and guns.
Correct. And as from my understanding, that they have 3,000 more indictments.
Yeah, I know. I mean, again, we live in the age of popcorn.
That they want to go after and arrest people for being there on January 6th. It seems like
being where? Standing on top of a police officer?
they're now expanding. So just anyone on the grounds.
Nope. No, not just being on the grounds. Most of those fuckers were allowed to just walk.
They raid your home in the sense you'll wake up to the FBI breaking in your door.
Did they break in your door, ma'am? Let me just be abundantly clear. The FBI did not break in her door. They did not. So if they didn't break in her fucking door and she was engaged in direct fighting with police officers, they didn't break in her door. They did not kick her fucking door in. She was served. She got a public defender. She's going through the trial. This is fucking insane. Yeah, they'll kick in your door. I mean, you, because you're white trash. Obviously, I live in a nice neighborhood. They won't come.
They use the local police as well as FBI agents. They've used.
Right, because a lot of you motherfuckers are guns enthusiasts and have been like threatening violence. Of course. They're gonna call the local police and go, hey, you know this person? Oh yeah, they get drunk every so often and fire a shot in the parking lot of the bar downtown.
Used tanks and a few different people, especially those who are ex-military.
Gee, I wonder why. Could it be the stockpiles of weapons?
They use tanks to come in. Like, I don't know if they're tanks or like, those police vehicles that are.
Yeah, police vehicles, tanks. What's the difference?
Have the ram thing.
Yeah, with the ram thing, the one they used in Dragnet, right?
And then they put
milk, fresh, wholesome milk, good for good, strong bones and healthy teeth.
Their kids.
But you wouldn't know anything about that, would you, Mr. Gingivitis?
They've put kids in cuffs, handcuffs, little kids, and they've.
Yeah, but that's kind of fun. You know what I mean? Kids love that kind of thing when you show up. Maybe don't arm your kids when the cops show up. Maybe don't hand your kid a gun and say, you're the last line of defense, Timmy.
Pointed guns with the red dots on their spouses and their children and themselves. I mean.
Wait, the cops pointed their own guns at themselves?
The J6er. It's disgusting. It's beyond disgusting.
No, it's not. It's safety precaution. It's overwhelming force. When someone threatens multiple times online to kill public officials, showed up to do it, failed, and has said online they want to do it again.
You have this media attention focused on Tucker Carlson as he has gained access, his producers, to some never-before-seen video also from January 6th.
Yeah, which he mixed with stuff from the New Yorker.
But then you have the media slamming him.
Oh my God, the media being mean to Tucker? What?
For airing that and talking to viewers about what they've uncovered, over the course of a couple of days. But I'm curious, do you think the public will ever really know the full story?
By the way, she's no fan of Tucker, I'm guessing.
Here.
They deserve to know the full story. And while
we know the full story. We do. We don't need to see 16 angles of the same attack to know what the fuck happened. After 3 is enough. Especially because one of those was you filming yourself on fucking Facebook going, we're here to kill fucking Nancy Pelosi. Like, we get it, dum-dum.
I'm thankful for the little bit that Tucker showed, which to January 6th defendants, we've known like about Officer Sicknick. We've known, obviously.
What, that he died of a stroke induced by the attack that day? Like, what the fuck? Who cares?
That the Q.
By the way, can I just say for the record, their big gripe, and Tucker made this point, that people talked about Sicknick dying that day when he actually died technically the next morning and he had a stroke, but after he'd been through something, like he was fucking pepper sprayed and he was hit and all this other stuff. And obviously a stroke is a stroke is a stroke, but stress can trigger it. And being involved in an altercation like that can cause one of the things. Fuck, the other dude she mentioned died of a stroke which was probably related to like his blood pressure going up because he's excited because they're going to fucking storm the Capitol. He probably would have lived another 6-10 months or had a stroke someplace else and gotten better care, maybe even lived if he hadn't been there. So fuck off. Secondly, but the idea is that the Sicknick part and what Tucker Carlson did was that Sicknick, the mainstream media told you that Sicknick was murdered on that day by maggots. And that's a lie. Meanwhile, this bitch just told you that all 4 of the people who died that day, Ashley Babbitt being the only one who was shot, the other 3 were treated by the police officers around them who attempted to save their lives, were murdered.
Shaman guy was just talking. We didn't know about the officers walking him around. But there's so much more that wasn't shown, and Tucker kind of gave in to the leftist,
Deep state,
the
leftists,
politicians, and whoever else was complaining that he was even showing that. And
leftist politicians weren't complaining that he was showing that. I mean, there was some concern about security footage inside the actual Capitol, but it was Republicans like, motherfucker, that's why Mike Johnson isn't airing this shit or just isn't putting it out, because he's saying we don't want the feds to come after some of these folks, because he fucking looks at they've seen the footage and like, oh fuck, these guys are going to jail for a long time. Holy shit, that guy's wearing a Matt Gaetz. That guy's wearing one of your shirts. Yeah, the guy who's stabbing the cop. Yeah, that's one of your guys. Okay, well, we can't release the footage now.
We were worried that something like that would happen. Really, it should have just been released to the public like McCarthy had promised.
As a Minnesotan,
I'm starting to not trust Republicans. Yeah. I don't know what it is. Yeah.
Victoria, I wanted to ask you about the George Floyd riots. This is right in your backyard, but there's more than $1 billion in damage left behind from those days. 1,500 businesses destroyed, more than 100, leveled.
I think it's in I think it's in Liz's backyard. This is Minnesota.
Altogether, multiple deaths in those riots. Talk about the difference for you and how that story has been portrayed, compared to January 6th.
I don't even know where to begin. I mean,
well, they're totally unrelated.
Even just look at 2020 in DC when they burned the church. I mean, you
mean the one that Trump stood in front of with the upside down Bible, and they asked him, "Is that your Bible?" And he said, "It's a Bible."
You can really
#Rip Portland.
Tell that there's bias.
Oh, I remember the Church of AutoZone. Remember when the Church of AutoZone was burned down? That's so sad. They go and pray at the holy headlamps, and give us this day our daily lube. Fucking control room. What fucking footage is this? What are you doing? AutoZone. The irony that there's no parking in front of an AutoZone. I think I would burn the place down just for that. Irony. That's the part where we all line up and we go down there and we kneel down, and the priest puts a lug nut on our tongue and then does this little blessedy bless thing, and we all get fresh wiper blades.
And there is hatred towards conservatives, not just.
You think conservatives have it bad? Look how much these people hate AutoZone.
From the media.
That guy's like, I got a ticket for a busted headlight. I got to get in there. Are they going to be open tomorrow? Because it's a fix-it ticket.
But from even the judicial system, if you listen in to these court hearings for January 6ers,
which I have done,
they're getting away with breaking the law.
You mean some of the Jan 6ers? I agree. Some of them are getting deals that other people would not get. Yeah. If you listen to some of these Jan 6 trials, they should be going to jail for a lot of this shit, and they just frankly aren't, for political reasons. There are more people being freed for political reasons in the J6 movement than are being jailed for political reasons, which is zero. But the people who are being freed are like, okay, we got to let about 15, 20 of these motherfuckers go, or or fucking this little town in Texas is going to become a hot spot for violence.
The judges. There's a case of the Proud Boys trial.
Who told you that? Your public defender?
Where
Wait, the Proud Boys trial?
it came out that the FBI were listening and to client attorney privileged conversation they handed from the defense, and they gave that to the prosecution so they could change their tactic in the trial.
All right. Did that make the? I mean, that I wouldn't agree with that as a tactic, but did that make the Proud Boys less or more guilty? I mean, it's bullshit, but okay, hold on. FBI, Proud Boys, wiretap privilege. I don't know. Okay, this is federal documents. They could have included classified members of the far right Proud Boys. Hold on. Proud Boys. Okay, here we go. We'll look at some of these. This is I don't know if this is what she's relating to, but yeah. Prosecutors mistakenly turn over potentially FBI classified material to Proud Boys on trial. Federal prosecutors accidentally turned over documents that could have included classified information to members of the far right Proud Boys who are on trial for seditious conspiracy, including 1,000 internal messages between FBI agents. Gave the FBI more time to review the messages that were shared with defense attorneys to determine whether they were classified. Judge also instructed attorneys for the 5 Proud Boys on trial not to review the messages further and not to share them with others. Messages were mistakenly included, may have involved a spill of classified information, which is probably like the names of informants who turned on them. Reveals messages between FBI agents, including Miller, discussing the investigation of the group and their actions related to Jan 6. 5 members on trial for seditious conspiracy. Miller said they received a large Excel spreadsheet of messages from the FBI. She filtered out messages unrelated to the case, or ones she did not send. She said submitted or filtered messages to the government. They're turned over to the defense team as part of routine evidence sharing. Spreadsheet provided to defense attorneys, however, included a hidden cell containing more than 1,000 messages sent from FBI agents. The messages were on the secret side of our system. The FBI could not say whether specific But it was told us unfiltered messages sent from her. The means to review the messages spreadsheet. One of the messages revealed in court between the Proud Boys on trial and his attorney at the time, according to Smith. It's unclear how the FBI had access to the communications, whether the communications are protected by attorney-client privilege. The one definitely indicates they wanted to go to trial. FBI agent T. Wang wrote, referring to the attorney-client correspondence. This one definitely indicates they want to go to trial. Other messages discuss different aspects of the Proud Boys case, according to a court filing by Smith, which includes screenshots of some of the messages. Several messages discussed whether FBI agents had enough evidence to charge members of the Proud, asking messages they got from Proud Boy Enrique Tarrio were enough to get over the hurdle of a conspiracy charge. They're going to discuss that. That's what investigators are going to do, and then they're going to keep looking, and then they'll find it or they won't, right? Okay, so as long as we actually go after them with conspiracy and not make a fool of ourselves, right? Other messages discuss taking the name of an agent who was present for a meeting of the informant out of a report. Was the FBI boss telling agents to destroy 338 items of evidence. Ballantyne said the discussion of destroying items was unrelated to a Proud Boys case, in which you destroy evidence if something's not brought to trial. You're not allowed to keep shit forever. They don't get to just any evidence they took if they never charge you. They don't get to just keep a stack of shit. It's, remember how it was a big deal that the FBI had a file on everybody? Remember okay. Seriously, like the idea that they got a fucking Raiders of the Lost Ark warehouse full of crates of evidence against people who eventually were going to charge them. It doesn't work that fucking way. You got to charge them or you got to discharge the evidence. This is not even weird. Fucking idiots. They can hold on to them while they reviewed them. Okay, there you go. So that's what she's talking about. Also, it is not proven that person was their attorney at the time, or decided to work as their attorney later, or if if you talk to somebody and they're not your attorney, the conversation up until you take them as your attorney is still usable. The other thing too is that just because they know it exists doesn't mean you can't use it in court. That doesn't mean you can't know of its existence.
as well
If you stumble on it, you can't unsee something, or it's just weird.
as the FBI agents were laughing as to the fact that they shut down the spouse of one of the men, shut down their bank account and her Venmo, and
Yeah, because they were raising money from overseas, by the way, for to support his legal defense in an insurrection.
then they said, "Oh, oh, is their house foreclosed yet?" And they communications. So there was communications that was accidentally handed to the defense, and this is what was in it. And they're laughing at this, and they're doing
Yeah, it's totally legal, by the way, to laugh at criminals.
this because, and they're like, no, their house hasn't foreclosed yet. So they're like, oh, we should keep pushing the trial longer in the hopes that it'll break this man to the point that he will take a plea deal. It's really disgusting what they're doing, and that's just some of what they're doing.
What is the
Okay, for the record, I would love to see that. I'm sure some of that exists. That's not actionable. They're not capable of doing that. The prosecutors make the decision. The FBI guys involved in it are not the ones. The investigation was already in process, the legal part of it. They don't have control over that. That's up to the DOJ in charging these folks, which was already in play.
best way for people to follow
Especially with the Proud Boys, which, like, some of that shit predates Jan 6th.
this story, a place to go?
The Gateway Pundit
Oh, God.
has been amazing
So amazing.
in getting the stories out for
Didn't Trump just shit on Gateway
everyone
Pundit?
to see.
I think because Gateway Pundit thinks that he should have
You
pardoned
can go
the
there.
Jan
You don't
6ers.
have to pay to read. Epoch Times has been good.
Mm-hmm.
I know some of the articles are behind a paywall.
Yeah, well, I mean, Moonies can't, they can't subsist on tithes alone, I think.
And then there's if you want to see video that
I do want to see video.
you'll never see on like Fox or
I do. Let me see it. Video that I will never see on Fox. Let's hear it.
any of the big news liberal media out there.
That would include me.
So there are January 6th links out there that I can send you.
Okay, well,
What? No, you don't send her. She's asking you to tell us. Who the fuck?
we'll get that all up for people to continue to follow the story. But
All right, well, let's hold on. Wait. I know I'm not going to do more of this, but let's see. Let's go down to here. Nope. Victoria White. Yeah, they don't. It's weird. They don't list They don't add the links below. It's very strange. It's where she actually gives it out and they cut it.
Victoria White from Rochester, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
And that will do it for this episode of Liz Collin Reports. Be sure to subscribe to.
Yeah, I'm not going to, Liz, and it's not because I don't find the interviews fascinating and fucking crazy, and it's just that I feel like you're dead inside, Liz. I don't, the lack of energy. I know you're probably looking to replace Laura Ingraham, when she loses her job inevitably, and good luck to you. But there you go. Anyways, I was only going to do an hour today, and I did an hour, 2 hours and a quarter. That's just how it works. But I love you guys, and that's just how we do. So here we go. I'm going to let you guys go. I'll see you guys this afternoon. Take care of yourself and take care of somebody else. And that's just a little bit. That woman interviews like several of these fuckers, and they're all like that. They're all the worst. They're all just like, I was there, but I wasn't really there. But while I was there, I did do some things, but they said I did things that I said I didn't do, and then they had footage of it, and then they're all like that. It's fucking amazing. I'll show you another one later on today. I won't do the whole thing because it's tiresome. But anyways, I thought I'd share that with you because that's the seed of where these fucking arguments come from. When you hear like Roseanne and these motherfuckers, they're getting their information from that lady. Hit that like and subscribe, all right.
To our YouTube channel by clicking the
Give it
subscribe
up,
button
people, come
there.
on.
We'll see you next time.
Thank you, Lacey Carter. Come on, hit me with some emotes over there on Twitch. Subscribe today. Help us hit our 100K. Come on now. Do you know how many people watch this show live? The numbers, they're astounding. Love you guys. And this is just the morning show. Wait till they see what I do on the afternoon show. It's incredible.
He went outside and it's packed.